were interesting, you know, I thought that it was noteworthy that there were a whole bunch of pride parades on the weekend. So, you know, July 4th was Monday, but on that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there were a whole bunch of pride parades, even though it was now in July. So they had even scheduled these other religious parades to sort of preempt the where it would be the old civic religious parade, you know, and the flag is very important, of course, for colonization, right? It's all about which flag is flying.
Right.
And so, you know, what flag has been flying, you know, it is not at all about the individual issues. That's where people get caught up. It's not at all about critical race theory or, you know, an LGBT thing or any, it's not about any of that. It's about a replacement of a religion. And it's, and power at the end of the day.
And both religions misappropriate and are scandalized and are jealous of the true religion, in my opinion, of Christianity, right? So the old civic religion is a little bit more, it's more friendly to Christianity on some level, but it still is, it kind of brings in the metaphysical claims of Christianity and positions it within the framework of civic religion Americanism, right? You know, you'll see those flags, Jesus is my savior and Trump's my president. And I kneel for the cross, but I stand for the pledge and I kneel for the cross. You know, what? Exactly. What's going on here? Liturgy. Exactly. Did you see that? And then you've got this new religion that's coming out. It's like down with all of that. We're throwing that over. It was hypocritical. It's disgusting. It's fake. It's dumb. It's not sophisticated. It doesn't have a good aesthetic. Here comes the revenge of the nerd civic religion that's going to replace the jocks religion. And that's what you see emerging here. And now the revenge of the nerds Christian religion, I always say it more effectively imitates the aesthetic of Christianity than the older civic religion. So the older civic religion positions the metaphysical claims of Christianity in a kind of transparent, hey, look, we kneel for the cross or whatever. And then the new civic religion doesn't do that. But it's the aesthetic. It's taking on the slain victim, the slain lamb that Revelation talks about. This idea that this, I call it martyr's energy. You know, they covet the perch, the martyr's perch of Christ, and they want to kind of basically parade a pantheon of victims that have been deified in the same way that Jesus, or trying to, in the same way that Jesus is recognized as God, right? So how
they have the mysticism. They have the Church of Woke has the mysticism. This is what's lacking from the American civic religion, which should be lacking from the American civic religion since it's a product of the Enlightenment, the height of the Enlightenment, right? So 1776 is like mysticism out the door. I mean, we're on just the last legs of the alchemists, right? The last legs. I mean, Jefferson was an alchemist. So this is the final piece. You know, and even there, we're getting into a rationalism that's going to lead us into scientism at that point. So we've got the civic religion that grows up in the intellectual, rationalist, materialist milieu. And, you know, you get 150 years into that and something's lacking. You know, you had the mysticism and the mythology, like I say, in the 80s because there was an enemy. And so at the very least, we didn't get gods, but at least we got heroes, right? Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and all those characters that they played, and Jean-Claude Van Damme, and, you know, all this, and they're going up against the Russians and they're doing all of this. And then they would go against the terrorists, you know, and it's like, they tried to milk it for a while and now there's just no more enemies, right? We're in globalism. There's no other at this point. And,
that's what I've said. I've said that for years, that there's this weird connection between the rise of wokeism and the collapse of the American foreign policy adventurism. They go hand in hand. Like it's like our violence, it became so impotent and so untethered to any kind of cathartic release that violence started to rip apart the very sense of identity of Americans back here at home, whether it's the psychotic school shooting events or undifferentiation, attacks on boundaries between child and adult. we're losing our mind because we have all this imperial aggression that can't be discharged into a credible common enemy abroad, right? So it's now falling in on itself here at home, right?
Well, that is the Leo Strauss thesis, right? That's the thesis upon which neoconservatism is built, that you have to have the other, you have to have the great enemy and the great narrative. You must have those things. It's not wrong. The problem is that it's a poor prescription, because then what you get in terms of foreign policy is always looking for that. Well, they found it, or at least they thought they had found it again in Russia, right? It's not turning out quite right. Let's just put it like that. There's too much at stake, and we're too interconnected. Right. And I think that what the wokes have done is they've got the mysticism, and part of the reason why they have the mysticism is because they have the artists.
Right.
And this is something that certainly Orthodox Christianity, but Roman Catholicism as well, has been able to leverage the artistic aesthetic, beauty, right? And in music, in visual, and the American civic religion was really, really bad at that.